Hey, I appreciate you. Everything that you done for me.
I really like Terence Crawford, right? Because of his switch hitting style. Now, Terence Crawford is due a massive, he's due a massive performance. And I think Canelo is made for him. Canelo doesn't fight with any urgency anymore.
I know his spirit.
Yeah?
Yeah, he got a killer in him. He a silent killer. I've been around niggas like that in the hood. Them niggas lay back until you bring it out, and then they just...
Terence Crawford has officially closed out his training camp ahead of the highly anticipated showdown with Canelo Alvarez. Joining him during the final stretch was Turki Alalshik, whose presence gave a big boost of support. Crawford took a moment to thank Turki for standing by him throughout the journey. While acknowledging the hard work that went into preparation, he made it clear that the mission isn't over yet, carrying himself with the quiet confidence of a man ready to claim victory once he steps into the ring.
Hey, I appreciate you. Everything that you done for me. You and Riyadh City.
You must
The job ain't done yet.
Yeah.
Job ain't done yet.
Yeah.
But
And
listen,
Saturday, deliver the job.
but listen, I appreciate the opportunity.
No retirement.
Let's get it.
Yeah.
Terence Crawford's final phase of camp has been defined by sheer discipline and hard work as he gears up for the biggest challenge of his career against Canelo Alvarez. Throughout training, his push through demanding sparring sessions, sharpening timing, reflexes, and defense, while keeping his offense sharp and explosive. His coaches highlight the consistency and focus he's carried every single day, presenting the picture of a fighter who is truly prepared in every possible way. Clips from camp show a lean, well-conditioned Crawford, moving with purpose and confidence, fully prepared to bring that effort into the ring. Crawford's confidence is evident as he makes it clear that, while the battle ahead won't be simple, he fully believes victory is within reach. His interviews and training clips showcase a fighter who embraces pressure, aware of the challenge posed by a champion like Canelo but never second-guessing his own skill set. More than just preparing his body, Crawford has worked to keep his mindset sharp and unshakable. He reassures fans that, regardless of how difficult the fight may get, his preparation, discipline, and unbreakable belief in himself will carry him through.
You see this fight with Canelo going?
I'm definitely going to win the fight, for sure. But, I think it's going to be a tough fight. I think he's going to bring the best out of me. I'm going to bring the best out of him, and it's going to be exciting.
Unlike some fighters who risk overtraining in their quest for perfection, Crawford has taken a smart, measured approach. He's been open about not pushing his body past its limits, choosing instead to maximize performance within well-planned sessions. This highlights his maturity as a seasoned athlete who values balance and recovery as much as hard work. Crawford stresses that the effort is poured into camp is more than enough and that adding unnecessary strain could only lead to fatigue or setbacks before stepping into the ring.
And I'm not training hard. I'm not even training, really. I don't want to overtrain because me personally, when I go in the gym, I give my all. And I don't want to burn myself out.
Lester Martinez, Crawford's lead sparring partner, has issued strong warnings about the challenge awaiting Canelo. After spending countless rounds in camp with Terence, Martinez insists that Crawford's power is on a level that will cause real problems, even for a fighter as seasoned as Canelo. While many see Canelo as the naturally larger man, Martinez points out that inside the ropes, Crawford feels every bit as strong and imposing. He describes the force behind Crawford's punches as something that convinced him a relentless storm is heading Canelo's way. Insights from sparring partners often carry extra weight, and Martinez's words only reinforce the image of Crawford being in peak, dangerous form.
Está como dicen muchos, está cabrón. Está preparado, está listo, a pesar de venir de una categoría muy abajo, subir a la 168, pues yo tengo los sparring con él. Tanto lo he ayudado como he sentido que él me ha ayudado también a mí. Entonces, anteriormente estaba enfocado en ayudarlo, pero luego que me dijeron que yo iba a pelear, ¿sabes qué? Necesito ayudarte, pero que me ayudes. Y ya en el ring nos entendemos. Yo casi no hablo inglés. Todavía voy practicándolo, pero en el ring nos entendemos muy bien. Y hay una buena vibra, pero él está listo. Y yo también estoy listo.
El tema del peso, ¿cómo crees lo afectará en la noche de la pelea haciendo sparring con él?
¿Cómo?
Haciendo sparring con Terence, la gente habla, pues el Canelo es muy grande, sí. 2 categorías.
Bueno, en realidad en tamaño creo que están iguales, pero en diferencia de peso, sí, a lo mejor Canelo está más acostumbrado a esa categoría que Terence, pero te digo, vengo haciendo sparring con él desde que estaba en las 147 libras, mi primer sparring con él en las 147, yo era ya 168, sigo siendo 168, y lo único que hizo ahora pues es subir de peso, aumentar de peso, y sí se siente muy diferente haber hecho sparring con él en 147 y ahora hacer sparring con él en 168. Pero yo creo que...
¿Cómo se siente diferente?
En el sentido que le he sentido más pegada, más explosivo, la rapidez, el snap lo tiene todavía el cabrón, no lo ha perdido, lo he sentido, pero creo que la nutrición que lleva, el equipo de trabajo con el que tiene.
Former champion Duke McKenzie has made a bold claim, predicting that Crawford has the perfect style to break down Canelo Alvarez. In his analysis, McKenzie suggests that many of Canelo's recent opponents, while solid, were not truly elite, making Crawford a completely different kind of threat. He highlights Crawford's versatility, high ring IQ, and ability to adjust on the fly as tools that could expose weaknesses in Canelo's game. While Canelo has enjoyed success against a wide range of challengers, McKenzie argues he has yet to encounter someone with Crawford's mix of timing, precision, and all-around skill.
Years, when you look, since he's been off the mad cow meat, right? You look at his last 5 fights, he's boxed ordinary fighters, you know, and they're not in the same league. They're really not in the same league. And I think to myself, his last 5 fights, even what's that kid's name? Hamza Shiraz, right? Mm-hmm. So he boxed in his last fight. He knocked out, what's the kid's name?
Belanga.
Right, he knocked out Belanga. Belanga took your man there. He took him the distance. Now, you only got to balance it up. If Belanga can take him the distance, you got to say to yourself, what is Terence Crawford going to do to Canelo Cotto. I've got the names mixed up. Yeah, right. So what's he going to do to you know what? I look at the fight and I think to myself, I really like Terence Crawford, right? Because of his switch hitting style. Now, Terence Crawford is due a massive performance. And I don't think Canelo is made for him. Canelo doesn't fight with any urgency anymore. You don't get any head movement from him anymore. He doesn't show you a punch and hit you with another one anymore. There's no variety in his whole sort of makeup. And I look at him and I think to myself, Canelo's become, just in my opinion, I think he's become a little bit pedestrian in as much as goes in straight lines, comes out in straight lines. There's no urgency to his work.
One of the major talking points ahead of this fight has been the size difference, with critics suggesting that moving up in weight would leave Crawford at a disadvantage. Yet, recent training footage has quieted much of that doubt. He now looks bigger, stronger, and more physically prepared than ever, which has prompted analysts to rethink their predictions. Many have noted that Crawford's ability to add muscle without sacrificing his trademark speed and accuracy is remarkable. The transformation has even led some experts to forecast not just a Crawford win, but the possibility of a knockout. With his new physical presence, the narrative of Canelo's size advantage is being questioned, as Crawford appears ready to meet him on equal terms inside the ring.
Win fights. And everybody, it seems like, that says muscles don't win fights usually have ridiculous muscle mass. Like Devin Haney was like, muscles don't win. And Devin's like way bigger than everybody else at 135 pounds and jacked to the gills. That's that snack shit. Okay, we're not doing that. But Terence Crawford also on that snack shit. Anyway, Bud Crawford did just drop a body transformation pic. Let's take a look at it. Boom! Son, I'm sorry, I have a flat tire. Does anyone have a jack to help me out? Oh, thank you, Bud Crawford. You're actually huge. The man has abs on his abs on his abs. I'm not trying to glaze, but that doesn't look like a 147 pounder. It doesn't look like a 154 pounder. That looks like a grown man. He's definitely put some weight on, coming to 168 pounds. And I can tell you that now. Take what I'm about to show you with a grain of salt because it is on weigh-in day, but look at what he was at 140 pounds. Now again, he's out of camp, hasn't made the weight cut yet, but that's him right now. But I mean, that is crazy. Couple of things. Yes, muscles don't win you fights, and the biggest question we have to ask now is, how will this newfound muscle mass affect Bud Crawford in the fight? Because one of the things I have said continuously about this fight is that the weight issue has been completely overblown by people. And what I mean is, there is not a massive weight disparity between these two fighters. What Canelo walks around at and what Terence Crawford walks around at is probably similar, and maybe Terence Crawford even weighs a little more. I don't know. I saw the picture of the scale of him at 186. It may be a little less when he's normally not trying to gain weight, but that's not the point of the weight difference. The point of saying there is a weight difference is that Canelo Alvarez has consistently fought and been successful at 160 to 168.
Controversy has emerged after analyst Showbiz the Adult raised suspicions about possible outside influence surrounding the fight. His speculation stems from footage of Turki Alalshik's involvement in Crawford's camp, where he was heard advising Crawford not to retire following the Canelo bout. Showbiz interpreted this as a potential hint of expectations tied to the fight's organization, suggesting that because Alalshik helped secure the matchup, there could be an unspoken understanding in play. While the theory remains speculative, it has fueled debate among fans and analysts about whether external factors might impact the integrity of such a high-profile clash.
Return the favor. But Turkey, in a second thought, said, no, I'm going to deliver this message. He goes back to Bud, and he says, and don't retire after this. Don't retire.
No retirement. Let's get it. Yeah.
That's what Turkey meant when he was trying to say, return the favor.
I see, you must retire. Yeah.
I did this for you. You got this big fight. Yeah, the job ain't done. Deliver the job, but don't retire. Return the favor. That is the most important part, and we're gonna break that down. The deliver the job thing, that is more of a language difference, okay? Because Bud is saying, listen, the job ain't done. He said, oh yeah, deliver the job Saturday. Mostly meaning, put on a good fight. Fight your heart out. If you win, cool. That'll be best if you win. But I'm just saying, it's not about winning. Winning is about trying. Winning is about going for greatness. Marvelous Marvin Hagler wasn't undefeated. Sugar Ray Leonard, Duran, Muhammad Ali, Sam Langford, Jack Johnson, Jack Dempsey, some of these Gene Tunney, some of the greatest fighters of all time, Willie Pep, Sammy Sadler. These guys weren't undefeated, right? But that's what made them great, is that they were taking on all challenges. His Excellency Turki Alalshik knows that the product isn't the fighter. The product is the sport. So he's trying to put on the best matches, which is why he's saying, don't retire, return the favor, because I got more ideas for you.
Rapper Boosie has also weighed in on the upcoming clash, labeling Terence Crawford a silent killer. He explained that Crawford's calm presence and steady confidence make him all the more dangerous, as he doesn't need to rely on bold talk or flashy bravado. Instead, his performances inside the ropes do the speaking, driven by relentless focus and determination. Boosie warned that Canelo must tread carefully, because beneath Crawford's composure lies explosive power and razor-sharp precision. By calling him a silent killer, Boosie summed up Crawford's identity as a fighter who doesn't chase the spotlight with words, but makes his statements with punches.
I know his spirit.
Yeah?
Yeah, he got a killer in him. He a silent killer. I've been around niggas like that in the hood. Them niggas lay back until you bring it out, and then they just, you know, I've been like that with them niggas. Like I didn't watch Crawford. I didn't hung out with this nigga. This is my boy. Like this nigga got a killer in him. You know, Canelo better be fucking ready. Like this nigga got a killer in him, bro.
Boxing analyst Russ Amber underscored how extraordinary Crawford's decision is, moving up through multiple weight divisions to challenge one of the sport's most dominant figures. He noted that only a handful of fighters in history have ever attempted such a leap, and even fewer have been successful. To Amber, this step highlights not just Crawford's ambition, but also his readiness to put everything on the line in pursuit of legacy. He praised Crawford's courage, stressing that regardless of the outcome, taking on this kind of challenge already sets him apart from the vast majority of fighters.
Think of anybody, especially someone who hasn't even competed in that division. So, yeah, I can't think of anybody. And to think that Crawford, started out at 135. I mean, the last guy I can think of doing that would have been Duran, but I think Duran went up and won the title at middleweight, and he didn't do it all in one fell swoop. It was one weight category after another. Leonard at 35, Davey Moore at 54, then Iran Barkley at 60. I mean, it just kept moving up, but I don't know of anybody that's gone from 35 up to 168 and basically leapfrogged the division. So from champion at 147, one fight at 154, and then leapfrogs over an entire section of top 10 contenders at 168 pounds, never having fought at 168. Oh, leapfrogs 160, over into the contenders at 168, right into a title shot. I can't think of anybody that's done that. Am I wrong?
No, I think you're right. Tommy, over the last couple of years, I think Canelo's come to rely on his power. Do you think that'll be enough against Crawford's ring IQ and his combinations and footwork?
You know, I can't think of any fighter where punching power alone is enough. So, you know, Canelo has come around with two things, punching power and defense. He's still very, very difficult to hit, which allows him to load up on shots and get into the range that he wants to get into, where he can fire away with hard punching power, not setting them up as much as he used to in the past, not having that, you know, that same work rate that he used to have. But if he's just thinking of going out there looking for that one shot.
Another major talking point heading into the fight is the size matchup between the two men. For years, Canelo has been viewed as the naturally bigger fighter, but recent footage of Crawford has challenged that perception. Observers recall that even when he first moved up against Madrimov, Crawford looked strong and well adjusted on fight night. Now at 168 pounds, he appears to have filled out his frame even more impressively. Analysts who once expected Canelo's physicality to be the deciding factor are now surprised to see Crawford not only matching him in size but, in some opinions, looking the stronger of the two. The narrative has shifted, with the gap appearing closed, and possibly even in Crawford's favour.
Now, when he fought Israel Madrimov, that was at the 154-pound weight limit, but when Crawford actually got into the ring on fight night, he was actually the heavier of the two men, clocking in at 169.8 pounds, we'll call it 170, just for the ease of the video, but 170 pounds at 154, that's a very, very solid rehydration. That is a very good weight for a 154-pound fighter. And our man Canelo Alvarez gives us evidence and testament to this. I've gone back through the years to have a look at what Canelo weighed in the ring when he fought 154 pounds to give us context as to the size difference. And don't get me wrong, Canelo will be bigger now than he was back then, but Crawford will be too. Crawford will also put that extra size on, and whilst he's not experienced fighting with the extra weight, it will give us some kind of understanding of how much of an issue it might be. We'll take everything into account, but just to begin with, you know, how big is the size difference? Well, going back and looking at some of these fights, we'll start with the Floyd Mayweather fight. So that was a 152-pound catch weight, and I said in my tactical video that Canelo was dehydrated for that one, that he wasn't at his maximum capability. Now, I still stand by that assessment because he was so green in his career, and because I feel his best performances have come at higher weight classes, and especially where he's not been having to cut lots of weight. But just for context in that one, he was 165 pounds in the ring versus Floyd that night. Meanwhile, Floyd Mayweather weighed 150.5 pounds, so there was actually a 14.5-pound weight difference that night. So you start to understand where I'm going with this in this video. I want to look at the context of where there's been weight gaps before. So someone who was 14.5 pounds lighter than Canelo was able to beat him on that night. Now look, Mayweather is an all-time great. Mayweather was unbelievably skilled and had soldiers tied up in knots. He couldn't do anything with him. But let's look at some other fights for some more context. When he fought Austin Trout, they were around about the same when they got in the ring. When they fought at 154 pounds, Canelo was 172 and Trout was 171. And that's really interesting to look at because that tells us that Canelo was only a couple of pounds heavier than Crawford when rehydrated when he fought at 154 pounds.
Crawford's trainer, Brian Bomac McIntyre, has firmly dismissed the idea that moving up to 168 pounds is too steep a leap for his fighter. He insists the jump isn't nearly as dramatic as critics portray, pointing out that Canelo's size has often been exaggerated. According to Bomac, Crawford already has the natural frame and strength to compete comfortably at super middleweight. His confidence reflects the wider belief within the camp that Crawford isn't venturing into unknown territory, but rather stepping into a division where his skills and physicality can truly shine.
Mac also added that when Crawford said that he's gonna fight Canelo at 168, that he was completely fine with it because Crawford is already a natural big guy to begin with, and that once again, contrary to popular belief, Canelo is not the bigger guy. Basically, if anything, it's easier for Crawford because he's no longer gonna have to drain himself.
That wraps up today's coverage. Make sure to stay tuned for more updates coming soon.